The city lights glittered in the cool evening air as Mia stepped out of her sleek, black luxury car. The faint click of her designer heels echoed in the quiet alleyway she had chosen as a shortcut. Tonight was supposed to be about celebration, a charity gala she had helped organize. Her name splashed across the headlines as one of the city's most influential philanthropists. She should have been focused on the accolades awaiting her, the flashing cameras, and the compliments on her designer gown. But something had pulled her here, to this unremarkable street on the edge of the city. Maybe it was nostalgia, or maybe it was the gnawing sense of guilt she carried but never acknowledged. This was the neighborhood where she had spent her younger years before life had taken her far from the people and places she had once cherished. As she walked toward the venue, her eyes caught a figure sitting on the sidewalk under the dim light of a flickering street lamp. A man hunched over, his shoulders slumped beneath a threadbare jacket. Next to him was a tattered backpack, and in his hands he cradled a cup, empty except for a few coins. At first, she was ready to walk past him, like she had with so many others over the years. But then she noticed his face. Even under the grime and exhaustion, there was something painfully familiar. Her heart skipped a beat, and she froze. "Alex?" she said, her voice barely a whisper. The man lifted his head slowly, as though the effort itself was exhausting. His eyes met hers, and for a moment, they both just stared. Time seemed to stretch between them, thick with memories. "Mia?" he said finally, his voice rough but unmistakable. It was him, her Alex, the boy she had loved with all her heart years ago, back when life was simpler and dreams felt like they could be shared. "What happened to you?" she stammered, crouching down to his level. He let out a bitter laugh, shaking his head. "Life happened. Not everyone gets to make it big, Mia." She winced at the edge in his tone, but didn't look away. "Why are you out here? Where's your family, your friends?" Alex shrugged, his eyes scanning the ground as if searching for answers there. "People move on. Things fall apart. Not everyone has a safety net to catch them." Her chest tightened. She wanted to say something, anything, to erase the weight in his voice. But what could she say? She had left him, years ago, when her ambition had pulled her toward the city and away from their small-town life. She had made the choice to leave him behind. She had assumed he'd be fine, that he'd find his own way just as she had. "I'm so sorry," she said finally, her voice trembling. He looked at her then, his tired eyes softening just a little. "Don't be. You made the choices you had to make. I'm not blaming you." But she blamed herself. Every fiber of her being screamed at her to do something, to fix this. "Come with me," she said impulsively. Alex blinked at her, confused. "What?" "Let me help you," she said, her tone firm. "You don't have to be out here. I can—" She paused, searching for the right words. "I can make things better." His jaw tightened, and for a moment, she thought he'd refuse. "I don't need charity," he said quietly, his pride still intact despite everything. "It's not charity," she said, her voice breaking. "It's me, making up for what I left behind." They sat in silence for a moment, the sounds of the city buzzing around them. Finally, Alex nodded, though he looked uncertain. "All right," he said. That night, she brought him to the gala. The opulent venue sparkled with crystal chandeliers and polished marble floors, and as they walked in together, all eyes turned to them. Whispers rippled through the crowd, but Mia ignored them. She introduced Alex to everyone as someone who had been an important part of her life, refusing to let anyone diminish his worth. As the night went on, they talked, really talked, for the first time in years. Alex told her about the struggles he had faced, the jobs he had lost, the people who had let him down. Mia listened, her heart breaking with every word. And in return, she shared her own regrets, the nights she had spent wondering if her success had come at too high a cost. By the end of the evening, something had shifted between them. The years of distance and pain hadn't vanished, but they no longer felt insurmountable. When they left the gala, walking side by side into the cool night air, Mia slipped her arm through his. It wasn't a promise to fix everything. It wasn't an attempt to erase the past. But it was a beginning, a chance to rebuild together.